How deceitful can a game be? Can a game hiding beneath a veneer of cutesy and colorfulness be very challenging? Can a game that started as something else entirely become a masterpiece in its new genre? I may or may not answer these and more questions when we take a good look at MagiCat. Now, for the lazy transition, let's magic it up by parts. Cha. Cutest 16-bit pixel art that I've seen in the style of mutant muds, with beautiful and fluid animations for the main character and enemies. The environment itself is a little blocky. There's a reason for that. A little more on that later. But very well done. The levels are very varied with very good background art. It gives the game its ambience without ever being busy or making a mistake for and background. It's very important in 2D games, I'd say. You also have some masterful parallax effects to add that good variety. The main character in MagiCat is this orange cat with a blue witch hat. Super cute. You will be able to palette swap him, 7 different color variants. He is very expressive, as I said before. He has near ledge sprite, crouching down, crawling, when jumping, looking up, one flutter gliding, a good range of expressions. Very nice. I just miss some good old idle animations. Even though the game is divided by words, the themes vary inside each word. It's not just, oh, there's the grass world, everything's grass themed, lava world, everything is lava, ice world, everything is ice. No, you have a lot of different themes. Candyland, Legos, castle, industrial, haunted, space, shadow, a lot more. We'll check them out when we take a good look at the locations. You might look at all this work that were done in this game and say, wow, they really went all out with it. But the truth is, this is actually a secret sequel, because the developers made the first game called Miracle Fly. Here it is. The environments are the same. All the building blocks basically of the game are here. Even though the art direction is different, it's not so much 16-bit, it's more Flash-like. It is a mobile game initially, so it's very different to control it on the PC. Actually, funny story, I found Miracle Fly by a complete accident. After my first review of Valky 64, check it out, I was searching, will I take a good look at a game that I've already completed or a new game? Let's check out this small waiting list of more than 1700 games. So I went to RNG, Road, for one of the 17 ones, and then it gave me 3. So the third waiting list. On the third waiting list, there are 100 games. I landed squarely on this game, Miracle Fly. I took a look at it. When I first bought it, I don't even remember where, I didn't make a connection with MagiCat. But since I've already finished MagiCat and know it very well now, at the first look I said, oh, did this game copy MagiCat? Is it a level pack on a game engine or something? Then I look at the year it was released. It's from before it. What the hell? What's going on? Did MagiCat copy this game called Miracle Fly? What's going on? The enemies are the same. You look at the slimes, it's the same pattern. Is it a full-on game pack? Is it an asset flip that you only changed the main character and that's it? Then I went on to search for it. At first I searched for the developer of Miracle Fly. It's a different developer. The developer for Miracle Fly is listed on Steam as Elagotech. It was released on 26th of October 2015. MagiCat is developed by, forgive me here, Kuchin Rembas. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It has a different publisher because the publisher of the Miracle Fly is also Elagotech. The publisher here in this case is Togi Productions and Neo Doctrine, but they're both from Indonesia, so maybe there's an overlap. I searched for it, searched until I got a YouTube video. The channel name is Sinful Sorcerer. Here he is. He first took note of this, and in his description he does the journalistic job of finding out that a developer from Elagotech went on to work for Kuchin Rembas. So it is a stealth sequel, you'd say. But lots of elements are the same. You know, they improved a lot. The soundtrack is of the full synthetic type, or at least it seems to be, with keyboard tones of all kinds like flute, string, brass, voice, and others that each keyboard company will call different names. It is that it would be in the 16-bit era games, but without the specific console chip limitation. At the same time, you will hear richer, full sounds. You will not hear a specific kind of sound that you would only get from that specific console, like the Mega Drive or Genesis for the Americans. The music is credited to Technoman. You can find the full soundtrack on YouTube, even if the person who uploaded it is not him. The normal music is per stage, per type of theme. Like the track Alchemic Forest is played when you are in a forest. You have Conjuring Candy when you are in the Candyland, and Dark Castle when it's a castle environment. It is a very straightforward game. Also here a highlight for Fairy Machine, my favorite song of this album. The game uses leitmotif for bosses. If you are in a castle theme, Dark Castle will play. Then, when you get to the boss fight, Deep Doom is the one that applies here. They are usually either more energetic and faster tempo or have a more threatening aura to them. Very good use of songs here. There's the time trial, a speedy game mode. It uses only a sped up version of the normal stage theme. All in all, it's a very happy-go-lucky soundtrack. By no means it's a masterpiece for ages to come, but it's serviceable. What it lacks in variability more than makes up for it with whimsical charm. It complements the game's cuteness very well. Even those dance tracks have that one more try and you can do it vibe. After playing through the whole game, you have a couple of tracks stuck in your head and you will want to add them to your soundtrack collection of choice. May it be YouTube mixes or, like myself, downloading the MP3s to play on your MP3 player on the cell phone. Also, no FLAC. FLAC is unnecessary for me, because as someone who worked as an audio engineering for music production, I can say that we introduce loss for realism's sake. So unless there's a new music movement or a trend that asks for lossless music and you have all the instruments completely in a soundproof room and only capture the most minuscule pieces without any loss, there's no such thing as lossless music. Even when making it in your computers, loss is inevitable. Since there's no lossless music production, there's no lossless music storing. MP3 is more than enough for the listening. Debate me in the comments. Give me lots of comments. Back from this tangent, we have the sound effects. They are on point, very, very well crafted, as is everything else in the game. And thankfully you can adjust them in the menu, separate from the music. More on that on options. You start with an animated cutscene. Your gem got stolen. Go get it. Fairly standard stuff for a platformer, you know? You gotta rescue X, go through several worlds until you fight the last boss. The world is a giant island in the sky. Very nice. Love floating islands. All broken up, maybe because of the stolen gem, who knows? And you gotta traverse all these fantastical lands in search of it. It's very whimsical, adventure-esque. Also, we have a very innovative concept here, both in the cutscenes and dialogue boxes throughout the game. MagiCat and some other animal will talk about something. About what? You can't say because they're speaking their languages. MagiCat meows because he's a cat. You can get glimpses of the story from the expressions and actions, of course, but you won't know exactly what they're talking about. Not until you finish the game, because in New Game Plus, the text gets translate it to your chosen language. A good incentive to play the game again. Not that this game needs too much incentive because it's sublime. I'm noticing a pattern with indie developers and bad options menu. It is located at the bottom of the screen. They try to minimize the amount of words needed. It's pretty self-explanatory. At least this one separates music and sound effect into two different sliders as opposed to Valkyrie 64. You have controls separate for keyboard and for a controller. You can rebind the controls from the game, very good. You have full and windowed mode. You have your language options, just displaying the flag. It changes real time. You have a CRT filter, as it would be expected from this game. And VSync, very important. It's not much, but it works. The performance of the game in general is fine. It's a 2D game. It's very difficult to have something go terribly wrong. I didn't encounter much in the way of slowdowns, etc. I have encountered a couple of bugs, one of them very cute and very fun. As you can see here, in this section you are supposed to just slide around the ground, just some ice fun, you know? But as you can see in the other clip where I encountered the bug, you instead start to float up diagonally to the left. Every time you go to the left, you float. Very fun, love it, super cute. Even the bugs here are cute. This other one, in strangely another ice section, maybe they have a problem with ice. You are in this bubble. It is supposed to pop and then you fall out of it. But if you dash into it, it does nothing, you stay stuck there. Watch out for those ice levels. Oh boy, let's go. There is so much here, it's actually difficult to choose which part to talk about first because each system feeds into each other. The game is level based. I may a lot of times call it stage or level interchangeably. Same thing. You start at one end of the stage, get to the other. You platform, you defeat enemies either by jumping on them or shooting at them. You do puzzles and collect resources. You fight bosses. You go from level to level, opening up paths in the map, getting upgrades for a character, and finally get to the boss at the end of the 7 worlds. Starting where you start the game, it has a Mario 3 style map where you see the world you are in, each level, and have freedom to move around. You are not bound by the road that goes from stage to stage. The map is one whole unit too. It's not divided, it's not another screen. You can at any time move your camera and just look at it. You see that not very linear. This game has multiple paths. Some of them are completely divided. You have to find your way to get to those levels. It is a broken world, indeed. The main reason I talk about Mario 3 when talking about this game's map is because of a couple of upgrades you can get that allows you to interact with stage elements. You can break rocks and trees and build bridges to go to other sections of the islands, either by accessing later stages or accessing shops or ponds. More on those two types of places a little later. I personally feel that Mario 3's way of handling it, this mechanic, was underutilized. I feel that this is the ideal. In the map, each post is a place. There are three types of places. There are the stages, where you can see its number by going near it, and clicking on it once shows completion information. There are the ponds that have two things in them. First is a lake that when you take a dip, it changes your color. Your color of your hat, and the appearance of your shot. It also has some kind of rainbow gem. There are 8 ponds in total, one for each of the worlds, plus your starting pond, where as soon as you start the game you see your pond. This one gives you your main color, the orange cat and a blue hat. I'll talk about each of the colors later when we take a good look at locations. The last type of place you can visit is a shop. In these shops they sell you upgrades. You can find 2 upgrades in each shop. They are bought with a currency called gem. More about the gems a little later. Before we enter the stages, let's talk a bit about the controls. They are simple and effective, as all platformers should have. You can jump, you can shoot, and you can dash. Your movement has a good pace, not too fast, not sluggish, very well suited for the kind of gameplay this game has, with few sections actually requiring too much speed, but it requires well-timed jumps, dodges, and for solving puzzles and dispatching enemies. You can also crawl. Hold down in the direction you want. You'll be able to crawl through small spaces, 1 block in height. Usually you occupy 2 blocks, meaning that in the air, if there's a one block clearing, you won't be able to enter it even when dashing. About the jump, your jump height depends on how long you hold the jump button. It has a good arc, and you can change the direction you are going in while you jump at any time without having to commit. Also, you can do a little flutter glide to gain some horizontal ground, either by holding the jump button, start to flutter at the apex of your jump, or double tapping, less vertical movement and more horizontal. Good when you are in narrow paths. Now the shooting. You shoot an energy ball, or magic ball maybe, because you're MagiCat. Your shots travel in a slight arc in the direction you're facing, obviously. Left, right, or up if you hold the up button. You can hold the shooting button to keep firing. It doesn't spend any kind of resources to shoot. You can shoot all you want. If you hold down, you don't shoot down even if you jump. Instead, you diminish the arc and you shoot closer to you. You gotta get used to this arc. You will need to master it. Also, it usually can't travel through blocks. Now the third pillar of your platforming is your dash. You can dash left or right from the ground or from the air, and also upwards after an upgrade. Unfortunately, as with the shooting, you cannot dash downwards because there is an upgrade that uses that command. It's actually a shame. Honestly, I think dashing downwards would be very useful, especially on some bosses. I really wish I could dash at them as I am above them. Well, what can you do? Maybe in the sequel. But here's the thing, the dash is not free. Unlike your shooting. And here comes the first part of the resource management that I talked about. During the stage, you get these blue potions. They give you MP. It's always displayed on the top right corner. You have your MP number. Each dash costs 1 MP. No MP, you can't dash. Sound plays, warning you. It is not, however, necessary to use dash in any way to complete the game or get those gems I talked about. The game even rewards you if you don't use the dash. You also have a heal after getting an upgrade. You hold down, press the dash button and recover some life. More on your life and the MP usage a little bit later. Let's talk about the stages now. Almost all of them are comprised of 4 sections. The 3 first sections are platforming ones, and they are not limited to left to right. You can go in any direction for each of the sections. After the first section, the second, the third, and the one after the third, there's a checkpoint. These checkpoints are optional. In fact, you have to spend your resources to activate it. That MP I talked about, those potions, you will spend 10 MPs, 5 after an upgrade to activate it. Using these checkpoints also recover your health completely. They are very important. After these 3 sections, there's a screen that only has a checkpoint, maybe a couple traps, but nothing too major. And after this checkpoint, there's a boss for each of the stages of the whole game. 7 worlds, 9 stages each world. There are 63 bosses in this game. Do you like boss fights? I hope so. You will like these boss fights. They are giant versions of the normal enemies you encounter with a big health bar. They usually utilize the stage's gimmick, or the arena has that stage's unique characteristic. The stage 9 of each world has a world boss. It's different from those giant enemies. It's one of the U-sized animals, like a duck or a monkey, with different mechanic than the normal stage bosses. I'll talk about them more later when we take a good look at the combat. Most of the stages have gimmicks. The first world mostly introduces mechanics that we use all throughout, like moving blocks, pressing buttons, grades that you can move on, like in Mario World. But most of the stages after that have a unique mechanic. I'll call it a gimmick, but not in a bad way. They're very fun. Like panels you have to pass but can't repeat to open a door, shots illuminating your way, gears that turn. They really went all out with the variety of gameplay per stage. I'll talk about all of them. Let me repeat. I'll talk about all of the stages, all 63 of them, when we talk about the locations. You can see the length of this video, that's why. There's also a second type of gameplay that affects all the levels. After completing each stage, you unlock the time trial for the stage. You can either do it right away or complete everything the normal way, then come back for a time trial run. You have 100 seconds to complete the stage. No gems, no checkpoints, no bosses. Each revive costs 3 seconds. Run. It's not necessary in the slightest to do the time trials to complete the game. It's more for the completion and achievements. Now, for the systems of the game. It does not have a live system, and it saves after each stage complete. As I said before, you can save on checkpoints, and if you die, you can revive on the spot. The system asks you and gives you a little bit of time to decide if you want to revive or not. If you do revive, it costs 2 of the PAW currency. More on that in a bit. Also, it doubles each time you revive. You can, from the menu in the game, at any time go back to your last checkpoint, restart the stage, or go to the map. This allows the game to be much more challenging without frustrating most of the people. If, for example, you can't complete the stage for any reason, it's pretty easy to skip it using the map. Actually, if you follow the path that the game gives you to get to the end, you will not experience a good number of the levels. You need the 2 map upgrades called Hammer and Floor to access most of them, I'd say. This means you can finish the game very fast, especially if you don't care too much about the gems. I personally love to experience everything that any good game I'm playing has to offer, and I will go out of my way for all the stages and all the collectibles. I love collecting. If you couldn't tell from my manga collection behind me, another day I might show my Pokemon card collection. It's a bit about the combat, but let's put it here because it's important. It's part of the life system. Your health. You have 4 hit points. Each time you get hit, either by a spike or an enemy, you take one of these 4 hits, reach 0, you die. If you fall in a bottomless pit, you will at first straight up die. After getting an upgrade, you will lose 1 hit point. I'll talk about more of this system a bit later on combat. Now, for the thing that differentiates this game from most other platformers, The resource management. You have three currencies: the pulse, the potions, and the gems. Pulse and gems are kept outside of the stage. Potions reset between each stage. Even if you finish with some MP, you will not retain it. The main collectible, that's a resource, and the main source of fun / headaches of the game is the gem. They're the red gems. Each stage has 3 of them, one for each section of the platforming sections. The bosses don't have gems in them. Whenever you get to the end of a section, if you didn't find the gem, go back. It's very easy to go back, or you can, from the menu, warp back to the checkpoint, because the gem will not be in the next session. The stage has 3 sections. Each section has 1 gem. It's usually just more hidden than you thought initially. If you go after a no dash gem get, meaning if you don't dash before you get the gem, it allows you to get more points a little later. That you have to interact much more with the stage's gimmicks. Basically, here the devs gives you an option to have the dash be like an easy mode to get the gem. Maybe the gem is just out of your reach, but if you dash you can get it. Also, be attentive, as some of the gems only gives you 1 chance to catch it. If you fumble it, you gotta restart from the checkpoint. About the dash, each section is its own in terms of counting the dash for the no dash gem get. Meaning, after you get the gem, you can dash all you want until you go to the next section. To get the gem, sometimes you have to platform. It might be hidden in a wall or out of sight, sometimes up the stage. Most of the time though, it requires you to complete a puzzle, like pressing a button that releases a set amount of enemies, or collect musical notes spawned from a button too. Both of these are timed, but if you don't complete it, you can just step on the button again and retry it. You can just not get the gems if you so choose, but they are also used as currency for the upgrades, the ones I've been mentioning all the time. From reduced potion costs, MP costs for actions, dashing upwards, to a very important one, not dying when you fall into bottomless pits. You will want to collect as many gems as you can. I'll talk about the upgrades in a bit. Back to the collectibles that are in the stage. They are the potions and the coins. The potions come in this round bottle with the blue liquid. It has a faint glow. You can see how many MPs you have by looking at the top right corner. Each stage starts you with 0 MP, 5 after an upgrade, and each potion you get in the stage adds 3 MPs to your total. As I said before, the dash, heal, and using checkpoints all spend MP. 1 MP per dash, 2 MPs per heal, and 10 MPs, 5 after an upgrade, per checkpoint. Potions may be hidden behind a wall or behind enemies. Coins. There are two types: small silver coins and big gold coins. They can be laid out in the stage, serve as a guide for where you can go or where to find that hidden gem. Pay attention on where they're pointing you. They also drop from enemies. The quantity depends on the enemy, later stage enemies providing more coins. The bosses, when killed, always explode in a shower of coins. You've got a few seconds to pick them all up. After that, you finish the stage. While in the post-boss coin collecting phase, spikes and other harmful stage hazards do nothing to you, except for the bottomless pits. If you fall into a pit, no more coins for you. Finish the stage. Go to the next one, you won't die from it. Don't worry. Why coins are important? Coins give you pulse. They give you pulse in two ways. First, each 100 coins you gather, you get a pulse. Just like you would expect from any good platformer. The pulse are actually a little more versatile than simply being lives. They do revive you, and you can, as I said before, choose how many times you can revive. It's very good. Love the system. But they can also be used for those map interactions. You spend pulse on them. Back to the coins. Each silver coin gives you 1 coin on the counter, while the golden coin gives you 5. The coins also gives you points. Silver coin gives you 5 points, gold coins give you 25 points. Speaking of the points, you get them from most actions: killing enemies, comboing them, getting the gem. A gem is 1000 points. Killing an enemy might be from 100 to 250. You also have a bonus of 1500 points for getting the gem without dashing. That's an incentive. Killing a boss always gives you 10,000 points, with bonus for not reviving during the fight and not taking damage during the fight. Other actions give you points. It's not that important. You get points either way. These points are important because they are the other way that you get pulse. Get those coins, get points from other ways, get the pulse at the end of the stage. After you defeat the boss, you have an end screen. It shows you your scoring. You have a stage score with a multiplier that starts at 1 and goes up throughout the levels until it reaches ×4 at the end of the game. You get bonus points for getting all the potions, and for the first time you clear that stage. Each 10,000 points you get 1 paw. If you, for example, have 257,990 points, you get 25 paws. The other points below 10,000, they're just not counted. You, as I said, use the paws to interact with the stage elements, with those upgrades. It's 3 for each time you destroy one, or 10 for creating the path. I'll talk a bit more about its own upgrades. It's a bit confusing, but as I said, every system feeds into each other. Let's just talk about the upgrades right now. There are 14 of them, 2 for each shop. These are the upgrades with their costing gems. There's the fresh upgrade, costs 10 gems. It's the heal one, it lets you heal. Costs 2 MPs, heals 2 hit points. Simple. There's the hammer. It costs 5 gems. With it, you can break the stage elements like rocks and trees. Sometimes there are gems hidden inside those rocks and trees. Each time you use it costs 3 paws. You can also use it to reach other stages. Sometimes they're just divided by these stage elements. There's the Rhombus gem, costing 13 gems. It lowers the cost of using a checkpoint from 10 to 5. A very important one. There's the Finder tablet. Like I said, there are gems hidden inside rocks and trees. You usually won't know where they are. With these upgrades, they glow. That's it. There's the floor upgrade, one of the 2 map upgrades together with hammer. The floor costs 16 gems. It deploys a small block. It has a paw print. Each time you use it, it costs 10 paws. With it, you will be able to go back and access previously inaccessible stages, or you can go forward to buy more upgrades, things like that. There's the break dash, where your dash will be able to break most type of cracked blocks. You'll find them all throughout the adventure. It costs 9 gems. There's the very important Rescue Halo. It costs 19 gems. You no longer die when falling into a pit. Instead of dying, you lose 1 health. Obviously, if you had 1 health when falling, you will die. Be of note here that you will not die from pits. Other instant death types still apply. There's the coin magnet, costing 11 gems. It attracts coins from further than it did before. You do attract a little bit the ones you get from enemies, but before this upgrade it's a very small radius. Get the coin magnet, it helps you even with the ones laid out in the stage. There's the up dash, costing 22 gems. You can dash upwards. Helps with reaching lots of spaces. There's the green heart, costing 13 gems. It reduces revival costs in half. Usually it starts at 2 paws, then 4, then 8, then 16, 32. Now it's 1, 2, 4, that. There's the elixir, another very important upgrade. Costs 25 gems and you start the stage with 5 MP. Together with the Rhombus gem, you already have the necessary amount for the first checkpoint. There's the Doppel Dash, very useful one too. It costs 15 gems. Whenever you dash, at the starting point of the dash, you create a body double. This body double can hold down buttons that can be held down. If you touch your body double, you get your MP back. This is game changing for bosses because you can dash at them, you hurt them when you dash them, then you touch your body double, get your MP back, infinite dashes. Very good. Another upgrade for your dash is the Invi Dash, costing 28 gems, the most costly one. You become invincible when dashing. Before that, you aren't. So you gotta be careful when dashing exactly into a boss. And lastly, you have the Shining Shield. It prolongs your invincibility time after taking damage or after dashing with the Invi Dash upgrade. It costs 17 gems. That's it. As I said before, main form of combat is done through jumping or shooting at enemies. You can also dispatch them by crushing or making them interact with some stage elements. Whenever you take a hit, you take 1 HP of damage and you get knocked back. It is a bit more than your own length behind, and you do lose all your control until you hit a floor, meaning you can get hit while you are jumping and fall straight into a pit, dying instantly. Do take care, and one of the reasons I said to get the rescue halo, it's very important. But still, if you have 2 health, you see how I'm going? You will get hit, take 1 damage, fall in the pit, take the other damage, and die. Get the fresh upgrade and try to stay always at 3 health. Whenever you get hit, you have invincibility for a couple of seconds. If you get hit and fall into spikes, you can get out of there quickly. You can also get out quickly after getting hit by an enemy. You won't get stun locked. Speaking of the enemies, there are a few types of them. There are the slimes that walk, they slide. From each end of the platform they stand on, be it the floor, the walls, or even the ceiling. Very nice. There are bats that fly up, down, or left, right, mostly. There are the rabbits, they jump about. There are these shooting guys, they shoot at you with their mouth cannons. They reminded me a little bit of these Mario 2 enemies. They are normally a bit on the slower moving side if they are flying, but I mean all the enemies move kinda slowly. There are some variations that speed up. Each of these enemies has a different number of jumps in the head or shoots to be defeated. The shots are more powerful than the jumps, but the jumps might allow you to reach other places that you couldn't before. Some enemies have a mask or a helm that negates all damage from shots from the front or from being jumped on. Every time you see an enemy, if it has something different visually, like glasses or an eye patch, a bandana, something that, it's a variant on that type of enemy. And it will do something different than before. It might, for example, shoot out fireballs when it dies. It's a very common one. Also together with other things. It might move in a different pattern or shoot in a different pattern, something like that. I'll talk about each of the enemies again when we take a very good look at the locations. Now, bosses. Since there's a boss for each stage of the game, they gotta have some ground rules, even if the ground for the boss is the ceiling. The boss is usually the most common type of enemy for that stage, like a bunny or a shooter. It has always a colored health bar. Each section of these colors represent a phase. Each time you deplete all of that color, it changes phases. The boss will acquire either a yellow or cyan outline. It's also easy to notice the color that the boss have as an outline, because the health bar he has will also have the outline yellow or cyan. Always pay attention to this outline, it's very important. What does it do? If a boss has a yellow outline, it is invincible. It does wear off after some seconds. Usually during this time something in the arena changes. For example, the boss may spawn mobs. Usually they're the same type as the boss. They're small enemies. For example, if it's a slime boss, it will spawn other slimes. These slimes also can be with no aura or yellow aura. If it has a yellow aura, they are invincible too. They are usually there to clutter the stage, to just make your life miserable while you fight this boss. Now, the other color that this boss can have as an outline is cyan. If the boss gets cyan, you have to do something for it to go away. It might be just jumping 3 times on the boss head. It might be that some stage gimmick appears and you have to interact with it. The boss is invincible also, while it has this aura. Jumps and shoots do 1 damage to the boss. Dashing does 3 damages. That's it. I'll talk about more specifically about the bosses, as I said, in the locations. Talk about the menus. You have in your map the following options. Items, you can check the items and their descriptions. Warp, very important. From the map you can always warp freely to any completed stage, visited pond or shop. Progress, a very complete tool to check your progress. It shows your progress throughout the game. All gems you got, their no dash status, the no revs and no damage taken on the bosses. This progress status is per level in a world, and there's also one for all the worlds together, so you can see, for example, if you got all the gems with no dash in the world, it will show a gem with a yellow check. If you got 1 green, that word is still green for you. Sorry about that. It also shows you in the right side which colors for cat you acquired if you took a swim in the lake for the pond of that world, and if you got that crystal in the pond, that surprise tool that will help us later. It also shows you the complete percentage. Note that it's not necessary to kill bosses with no damage or no rev for completion. It's just for bragging rights. You can screenshot it and put in your Steam profile for all to see. You also have Back to Titan, Quick Game, and access to the settings that for some reason, I don't know why the devs didn't make a separate window like the other ones, the other options. To access the settings, you have to go down from the last option. You go down Back to Title, go down from Quit the Game, and then you already enter the option. It's very odd choice, but okay. Whether floats your boat or floats your cat. Now, from inside the level, also very simple. You have continue. You paused it. You can continue. You can restart the level if you are before the first checkpoint. If you are after the first checkpoint, you go back to the last checkpoint. You can also go back to the map, title, quit game, or those settings again by pressing down. UI, simple, effective. You can always see your pulse, coins, and your gems on the top left. Your score or time left in the time trial at the top center. MP, top right. Pay attention to this one. The gems are either an outline if you haven't caught it yet. The gem, again, with the green check mark, if you got it dashing, yellow, no dash. If you got the gem with the green, you can come back to the checkpoint and get it no dash, it will be a little grayed out with the green until you get the yellow, sorry. The gem is red, so that's why. The camera, as expected of a 2D game, is focused on the main character, the cat. It shows you the side perspective, always focused at least on the main part of the stage. You can go out of bounds upwards if there's no ceiling. If the stage is vertical, there are barriers for you not to go outside. Downwards, usually, is the bottomless pit, in which you either die or take damage and come back. You can, in a couple of instances, go out of bounds down and still recover. Now, let's take a good look at locations and scenery, the absolute biggest part of this video. Since each stage is a location, I'll have to talk about every one of them. I'll talk mostly about the mechanics it introduces or the stage gimmick. When a mechanic is an important one that will be featured all throughout the game, I'll say it's a basic mechanic. Otherwise, it's mostly a gimmick for that stage. The stages that have gimmicks also have these basic mechanics. Assume that. I'll not talk about where to find it gem and how to get it specifically. This is not a guide, it's a good look at the locations. I'll show them in numbering order: 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, etc. Not the order you're likely to encounter them, because they are scattered. As I said before, you are free to choose which ones to visit in whichever order you want. Also, when I say environment when describing the stage, I mean the part of the stage you interact with, the floor, walls, ceiling, etc. Background and foreground are decorative elements that are either behind or in front of the environment you platform in. There are basically no horror elements in this game except for one very present, which is the loading screen. It is all black except for this rolling cat head with no eyes, just an empty socket in its place. It stares into you as it rolls. Oh, why did they choose this in this cutesy game? I'll never know. The format I will use is 1-1, for example, first stage of the first world, Intro Forest. This is the name of the stage. Each stage has a name. I'll describe first the appearance of the stage, the environment, background, foreground if it has any, then what mechanics they introduce. I may talk about each section or just in general. Then I'll talk about the boss. I'll talk about stages 1, 2, 3 to 8. Then I'll talk about the pond, the shop, and then the stage 9, which includes the world boss, and on to the next world. Let's go. 1-0. Gem's Pond. It's your pond. By the way, the cat's name seems to be Gem, or it's your Gem's Pond. I have no idea. Whenever you are another color other than orange, you can come here and change your color back to orange with the blue hat and shooting orange balls. super cute. You also see the place where your gem is supposed to be, with a small dialogue. Meow indeed. 1-1 Intro Forest. Cute forest with wooden blocks. Starts with a cluster of leaves in the background. It transitions as you go through the sections to a sky with clouds. Mechanics. It introduces the slimes, they go left to right. Also a basic mechanic, very important, a button that opens a door. It's actually a platform that it serves as a door. It becomes transmiable. They can be in any orientation. It introduces grades a la Mario World. You can get on them, move all about, jump off of them. You cannot, while you are holding the grades, hit an enemy. You have to jump off it. You stay behind the grade. You jump off it and jump on the enemy's head. Otherwise, you take damage. Take care, this is not Mario World. Also, your first gem challenge type, a button, the red button, that spawns a set of enemies to kill within a time limit to get the gem. You see all the enemies, where they are, which type they are. You will see that they are all connected to the gem via a red dotted line. This is very good because you can plan ahead. If you fail to kill all the enemies, they despawn and the button is unpressed, ready to be pressed again, so you can repeat until you get it. Now, the boss, first boss of the game, it's just a big slime. It moves left to right, has no attack of its own. It spawns mobs, the slimes, between the phases. You can kill these slimes. 1-2 Underground Pool. It's an underground cave with cave walls and waterfalls in the background. The water here doesn't actually let you swim, it always pushes you up, while the waterfalls in the stage push you down all the way to the bottom, so you have to manage it. Every body of water you encounter will be different. I will talk about them, don't worry. Also, now a basic mechanic, timed button doors. They are this orange door, orange button and doors. You press the button, a counter starts, a platform becomes transmiable for this limited time. If you fail to pass it, you have to go back and press the button again. This is the introduction of the bats. They fly around in a line. That's it. The boss. Bat. The floor of the arena is water. It has a part outside the water. The bats flying around. It spawns lots of flying mobs between sections. Very basic fight. 1-3 Cave of Crate. It's a cave just like the last one, but this one is dry. No water here. You do have flying enemies. This stage introduces spikes, if I'm not mistaken. It's a basic mechanic. It's an environmental hazard you find all throughout the game. Gimmick. Crates you can break, mostly by shooting. It has moving platforms. Combine it with spiked floor for that platforming goodness we all know and love. The boss, also flying. Half the arena is basically it's spikes, it's spawn mobs. Go at it. Very easy fights too. This is still the first world. you'll get punished later. 1-4, color door. It's outside, blue sky, and lots of the floating islands just like one you're in the background. Lovely. Basic mechanic time, alternating color door. They are operated by the same color button. You step on the button, for example, green button, a green platform opens. I will say either open or becomes transmiable, which means you can pass through it, or something of that effect. While other colors becomes opaque, closed, etc. So you step on the red button, red platform opens, the other colors close. Vice versa. The boss. Floor is all spikes. Some colored platforms above it. At the top, isolated from you, is a slime. It will go back and forth. There are colored buttons. It will hit them periodically, which means the color of the platforms are always changing, so you have to be constantly moving. Where's the boss? It's on the ceiling, of course. Big slime spawn mobs that also go on the ceiling. Easy fight. Mostly to teach you things still. 1-5. Telekinesis box. Is telekinesis magic? I thought it was psychic powers. Anyway, it's nature. There are bricks in the environment with those same sky islands in the background. There are these platforms you can move in a line when pressing a button, cyan button. Combine those with alternating platforms for a brain teaser. It's kind of a basic mechanic, you'll see it throughout a couple of times, not that much, but you'll see it again. The boss. It introduces the cyan outline. When the boss gets in this state, you have to hit a button. As soon as the boss gets cyan, hit a button that makes the boss go to the ceiling if it's on the floor, and vice versa. It loses the outline and you can damage it again. Also, the mobs here, the mobs that this boss spawns, start having the yellow aura. They are invincible, don't bother with them, just dodge it. 1-6, Bump Madness. It's a Candyland. Blocks and all the environments are made of candy of various types, with some lovely cake mountains in the background. Here you have some basic mechanics, hazards of spiked balls, the enemies that shoot at you. As I said, they remind me of those Mario 2 enemies. There are glass blocks or glass panels that let the enemy shoot you, but you can't shoot them through the glass. The gimmick here is just bouncy blocks. You jump on them, you jump higher. Also another basic mechanic, there are blocks with arrows to the left and right. You can push them. The boss here is a shooting guy. You can't jump on him because of the arena. He has some spikes above his head. And you have to just shoot him and dodge his patterns. This boss shows that the variety of bosses is going to be much larger than it seems at first, which is very good. 1-7. Happy Cake Day. Still on Candyland, but change the hard candy on the environment with cake. Mechanics. They're the basic mechanic of A-B buttons. So you have just like the colored ones, but whenever they are A-B, it's a hold button. So if you hold it, the platform becomes transmiable. Otherwise, it closes. You will usually push a block to hold it down. If you already have it, you can use your doppel dash to hold this button for you. As a gimmick, this stage has this tribal cake mounds. You shoot at it and that's it. Spiked balls here, they jump. That's mostly it. The boss. This boss has an enemy at the other side. You shoot at it. This is a shooting enemy, a shooting boss. When it gets cyan, you have to make this other enemy shoot at the boss. The arena is in a very low ceiling, so watch out for the boss patterns. 1-8. Unseen Floor. This is basically a ghost house, all made up of old wood, just like a Mario World ghost house. Also similar, it has loads of ghosts, etc. The mechanics. The gimmick of this stage, if you couldn't guess, it's unseen floors. It's invisible platforms you can stand on. You cannot make them appear, but there are enemies that move about on them, so you can guess where they are. They are these ghost slimes. It's the first big variation. There are slimes, there are ghosts. They cannot be hurt normally. If you try to jump on them, they will hurt you. There is the gimmick of the stage is a button that releases some particles in a semicircle. It kills the ghost when it touches them. It's also used in the boss. The boss is a big ghost slime. It spawns mobs, being them the ghost slimes. There are 2 sun buttons, one at each side of the arena. It's pretty obvious what you have to do. Now, the first shop, 1S, sells Fresh, the heel, and Hammer, the one you can break blocks. Also, 1P, it's the first pond you encounter, besides your own pond. It turns you into a bright pink cat with a yellow hat. Your shot becomes a pink flower. 1-9, Sunflower Garden. It starts out with a dirt field, environment and background, transitions to big sunflowers in the background with the blue sky. As the gimmicks, you have a tower of slimes. You can shoot a part of it. As you kill it, it diminishes the number. It also has a button that makes your next shot a sunflower that spins on the floor, and it goes on the floor and walls. You can ride it. It is timed. Very basic. Past 3 sections, you get to the boss. This is the first world boss, the bee. It shoots sunflowers and flies around. Between each phase, it enters a yellow state in which it shoots you with increasingly difficult patterns. Then cyan. When it gets cyan, it stops. You have to jump on its head 3 times. Then it becomes hittable again. The last phase, when it gets cyan, you can't reach it normally if you don't have the dashing upwards upgrade. Instead, you have a sunflower button appearing for you. You have to use it, ride the sunflower, and get to the boss. Then you jump on its head 3 times and complete the fight. All the world bosses are like this, they follow this same dynamic. What changes is mostly their shoot types and the gimmick that they use in the last cyan stage. Mostly that's it. With this, World 1 is done. Let's go to World 2. 2-1, Squeezing Corridor. It's outside on the blue sky with lots of colored bricks in the environment and lots of castle towers on the background. This is a basic mechanic. There are these moving blocks that can crush you if you're not careful. This is the first appearance of the bunnies. They hop around. They will aim at you. When you jump on their head, you will jump higher. Also here is introduced the other type of gem challenge. It's the red button that spawns musical notes. You need to collect them all for the gem to appear. As with the other one, it is timed. You can see where they are. If you can't collect them all in time, you can just go back to the bottom and try it again. The boss is a big bunny, spawn, small bunnies. Very basic. Choo-choo. Transport. Same as 2-1, but with blue flooring instead of green. In this stage you find, as a gimmick, numbered blocks with a corresponding button that, when stepped on, moves this platform to another location. When you press it again, or another of the same button, it comes back to the starting point. There are blue bunnies here. They hop further than the gray ones. The boss is in a normal arena, but there is a moving block with spikes in the ceiling. The boss is a big blue bunny that, when cyan, will form a line to your location and after a couple seconds dash to you. You need to point that line to hit the spikes. Then the boss will dash to it and lose cyan. It also spawns some mobs. 2-3, Bat Pit. It's the inside of a castle. It's all very grey with candelabra lighting up the background. Reminds me of the Mario World castles. As a basic mechanic, you have these cracked blocks that can be broken either with your dash after the upgrade or with something that the variant of the bats have. These are bats with bandanas, very cute, that when killed they shoot out fireballs, either in a cross or X formation, depends on their color. This stage's gimmick is a pulley system that when you press a button, it pulls a block upwards and it slowly comes down. It can crush you. Be careful. This boss arena have a very low ceiling, which is also covered in spikes. The floor, most of it have spikes, but these spikes are hidden behind cracked blocks. The boss, predictably, will shoot out fireballs every couple hits it takes. It will change its flight pattern. Watch out for where you hit it. 2-4 Rolling Jail. Still the castle, but with some jail cells and chains in the background. As for the stage's gimmick, you have these purple big balls that interact with a button. When the button's pressed, it goes either to the left or to the right. On the button, you can see the direction it's going to go. It actually takes the direction you are facing. You face left, it goes to the left. You face right, it goes to the right. You also have the bats again, but now they are wearing face helms. They can't be shot from the front. It must be either from below, shooting up, from the back, or jumping on them. The boss is a big flying bat with the face helm. Since the floor is all spikes, you have these rolling balls. An enemy isolated that keeps rolling the ball for you, so the floor is going back and forth. This boss also spawn mobs of the same variant as him, though they can be killed. This time the fight starts to get a little tough. Take care here. 2-5 Chocolate. This time, instead of Candyland, it's Chocoland. The background are gigantic chocolate bars. Here, the gimmick, once again, is water. But this water sometimes floats in the middle of the stage. You can swim freely in this water just by using the D-pad. There's another gimmick that's a candy ball that rolls around. It's physics based. Here the shooting guys are a flying variant. Now the boss is fully underwater, so you have full control of this fight. It's as if you are flying. You can only shoot him. He's surrounded by spikes from up and down. You have a variety of shooting patterns from him, including some different colored green shots that will home at you at 90 degrees. This one does not spawn any mobs, so it's just you versus the boss shooting one another. 2-6 Horizontal Trace. We're back to the first, just like 1-1. Here the only gimmick is a block that is usually held by something like a platform or a cracked block that, if released, will move according to an arrow in it until it hits another obstacle. The boss. This boss is very different. As you can see, lots of cracked block walls. The boss is on this wall. It will spawn invincible enemies that will go to the other side. When he gets cyan, you need to destroy the whole wall he's in. He moves to the next wall, and lose the cyan. Repeat the process again. Very creative fight, very nice. 2-7, High Sky. These stage names are quite descriptive, aren't they? You are indeed high in the sky. All your platforming happens in this metal structures environment. The background and foreground is wholly composed of clouds in front of a bright blue sky. There's no new mechanics here, no gimmicks, just the spiked balls can move a little bit now. As for the boss, 3 platforms with gaps. The boss slides all around it, even underneath, and when he is cyan, you gotta jump at his underside from that gap. He also spawns yellow mobs. 2-8, Climb of Peak. Same as 2-7, blue sky, white clouds, beautiful. You are still platforming in the metal environment, this time with grades. We've seen them already. You can move all around it if you grab onto it by pressing the D-pad. You cannot touch enemies while you are walking on the grade. You are not an Italian man. You have to jump off the grade on their heads or shoot them. As for the boss, finally we start having some very good boss fights. You have 3 vertical grades, up and down on them. You have spikes. Outside of that, bottomless pit. The big bat boss, it spawns yellow mobs. They are here to clear the stage for you to fight the boss. Very cool fight, I love it. 2S, Second Chop. Here you find the very important Rhombus Gem. It's the one that reduces MP cost for using checkpoints from 10 to 5. Get it as soon as possible. You also find here the Finder tablet. It illuminates stage elements that have a gem inside. Not that useful, but you might get a net profit on it, who knows. 2P, Secret Pond 2. Here you transform into a cyan cat with a purple hat. Your shots are cyan clouds. 2-9, Small Toyland. It's Lego time. The environment and background is all composed of Legos. You have some semi-transparent clouds in the foreground. The background is beautiful with lots of different. The background is beautiful with lots of different constructions like battlements, towers, numbers, etc. In this stage, you got these small enemies. They can't be jumped on while you're in cat form, but you do have a button to transform you into a ball. While in this form, you kill every mini enemy you roll into. It can be from the sides, from up, from down, whatever. To end this effect, shoot. The boss is the world boss here. Is a sheep in a beanie. It will throw wool fluffs that bounce around in the stage until they are hit with a shot. When cyan in the last phases, you can turn into a ball to hit it. 3-1, Looping Street. Back to the sky, but this time in the background there are some white pillars behind the clouds. Here you have an interesting mechanic. The edges of the screen loop. In the first and third section, it's top and bottom, meaning If you fall, you won't die. Instead, you will loop from the top and keep falling. The first section is not as present, you have only one small part that you can fall through. It's mostly the third one that opens up. The second section is left to right. You have to scale using this mechanic. Here there are a good variety of enemies waiting for you. As for the boss, you have the one-way platforms, they go up. You can jump up them, but not down, as you can see by the green arrow pointing up. The bunny boss will keep jumping up, and you have to catch up to him, or better yet, wait for him, shoot or dash, and get out of the way. He will spawn lots of yellow mobs. They will not be able to pass these platforms, so they will get stuck in whichever platform they are in, so be careful with them. It's a pretty difficult boss fight. 3-2 Upwind. Back to the caves, but the background have some narrow walls, making it easy for the wind to pass through, making it this stage's gimmick. You have lots of places where there's a wind that blows up. You can see where the wind is blowing up by observing the small debris going up. Maybe they are leaves, I don't know, they look like leaves, but since it's a cave, I think they might be debris. Here, the bats, they chase you if you get close enough to them. And they will chase you all throughout the stage. Use this to your advantage, e.g. to get a gem. The boss. It has wind all around, with some moving platforms and spikes. You cannot fall on the bottomless pit. The bat boss aims at you and slowly go to your direction. It spawns yellow mobs. It's also a very difficult fight, this one. Very nice. 3-3 Down jump. Back to the cave. In the beginning it's the same as the last one. Then near the boss it's stalactite and stalagmites. Here you have a basic mechanic. It's pass-through platforms. Unlike the one-way platform, this one points down and have a blue arrow. But same as last time, it allows passage to you and big enemies like bosses. Small enemies and shots can't pass through it. It will be used on puzzles on this stage, obviously. The enemies here are bats with bandanas, meaning they explode into fireballs when killed. Now, for the boss fight, it's a small arena with a couple of spiked places at the bottom and an all spiked ceiling. You have a couple of the pass-through platforms. The boss is a bandana bat. Every couple shots or hits it takes, it will throw out fireballs in either a cross or X pattern. It spawns yellow mobs. 3-4 Buzzing block. It's some sort of structure in the sky with big windows showing clouds and the sky in the background. Here we have a mechanic directly from classic Mega Man, timed alternating blocks, meaning one block appear, another one disappear. The first disappear, the second appear. Also, the slimes here have spiked helms. They cannot be jumped on. The boss is also a spiked helmed slime. The floor has some pits with those timed alternating blocks. It spawns yellow mobs that cannot be killed, but they can die if they are above a block. When it disappears, it will fall out of the stage. Simple but challenging. 3-5. Balloon flight. Not balloon fight, balloon flight. Back to the sky, but this time with balloons. The red ones stay still until you step on them. As soon as you do, they start going down if you're on them. They go until they go down the pit and you take damage or die. If you jump from it, it will go up and away from the stage. As you can see, I can fall down. They respawn. The green ones, same as red, only they are attached to enemies and stay where they are after the enemy is killed, making them like a red balloon. In the third section, we have an auto-scrolling part here. Reminds me of that Sonic Sky stage. Very nice. Right before the boss, you encounter the third type of balloon, the blue one. It only goes up to its starting position. You use this for the boss. The boss is a shooting guy. It has spikes on the floor and those blue balloons. So you can't stay in one balloon too long or you take damage. 3-6. Slide. It's a beautiful ice palace with shiny ice bricks, ice walls, ice columns. Everything is ice in the background, in the environment. And for the joy of the majority of platform players, the ice here is not slippery. Instead, the gimmick of the stage are these slopes that by pressing down you can slide on. When doing so, you leave this after image, and in this state you can break cracked blocks and kill all enemies automatically. To end this effect, just stop pressing down. If you hit a wall, you will bounce and come back until the momentum stops you, then you lose the effect anyway. You have these ice slimes that take the normal amount of shots to be killed, but one jump will also do it. There are also these ice blocks that can be pushed. They slide with the momentum gained. Now, the boss, you have the floor, which is spikes, 3 of the A platform, and an isolated slime that goes back and forth, and when it gets to the far left it will hit the A button for a couple of seconds, which means you have no ground to stand on. You have to jump and flutter a little bit to avoid getting to the spikes. The slime boss is on the ceiling and spawn mobs that go on the ceiling too. 3-7. Dripping ice. It's another type of ice palace, but the floor is made up of thin vertical ice slabs with ice bricks on the background. The gimmick here is falling icicles as you pass below them. They respawn quickly. You have also these ice blocks that breaks when they are hit with the icicles. There are the ice bats that are similar to ice slimes. They take multiple shots or one jump to die. The bats, when they die, shoot out icicles in cross or X formation. The boss is an ice bat that shoots icicles after each couple of shots taken. In the ceiling there are ice blocks that hide icicles, so the boss shots might hit the blocks that will reveal the icicles, so be careful when going left to right. 3-8, dominant balance. Autumn forest with big trees before a blue sky in the background. Very beautiful. The stage's gimmick are 2 sets of blocks that are used as weights. In a pulley system, they have this Libra icon on them. If you stand on one, it lowers, the other rises. Classic mechanic, it's from Mario 1. The slimes here have mini slimes floating inside them. When you kill the slime, it will spawn the mini slime. Did you just kill a pregnant slime here? Let's not dwell on it. Moving on. The boss is a slime that spawns lots of mini yellow slimes. Also, there's an isolated slimes that hits a button that makes the boss invert gravity. It goes to the ceiling and to the floor. 3S, the third shop, with arguably the most important upgrade you can have, floor. You will need this upgrade to go back and access a lot of previously inaccessible stages, such as 1-8, some pounds. Go forward to get other upgrades early. Look around by this upgrade. There's also break dash, where your dash start breaking cracked blocks. 3P, the second pond 3. Here, when you go to the lake, you become yellow colored with an orange head. Your shots, they are yellow stars. Very cute, as always. 3-9, gigantic nightmare. You are in the sky with the metal blocks environment, but now we have complete floating islands in the background again. Also some black orbs sit on top of pillars, clouds pass by on the foreground. Absolutely gorgeous. Here in this stage, the enemies are much bigger than the normal. They are tougher too. They take each either 6 hits or 6 jumps. You can mix and match always the jumps and the shoots, but they're the tougher enemies you've encountered yet. You also have the grappling hook button. When you press this button, your next shot becomes a grappling hook. It will stick to blocks, any side of them. You then can swing to the left and right, you can hold it, and when you let go you have a good momentum to jump up. You are going to need this one to complete the stage and get to the boss, which is a world boss. In this case, it's a yellow bird. When passing through, leaves some feathers that shoot out in a pattern. First it's a cross, then 6 diagonal, then 8 cross plus X. When they're in the last scene, you gotta use a grappling hook on the ceiling to the left or right to reach him. Completing him, we'll move on to the fourth world. 4-1. Sticky snow. Time to play outside in the snow. The stage is all a fluffy snowy field. The background is composed of lots and lots of snowy mountains. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There is a lot of snow in the environment. So much that you can't walk. You will have to jump each time you move. There are these snowballs that you can stand on, and you gotta move them going to the opposite direction that they're moving on. If you move to the left, they will roll to the right. If you move to the right, they will roll to the left. They have 3 places they can be: on spikes, It stays the same size always. If a snowball is on the snow, it will grow as it grows. If it's on an ice block, it will shrink as it grows. Now for the boss, it's a low ceiling covered in spikes. The floor is the deep snow. The big bunny boss spawns yellow mobs and jumps around and aims at you. Very good fight. 4-2. Cold boom boom. Back to the Ice Palace. This stage has cannons. Like in Donkey Kong Country, you enter the cannons. The mustard colored cannons are either stationary or moving. When you enter them, it shoots you after half a second or 1 second or something in the direction they are pointing in. There are the green cannons. They are either stationary or rotating 90 degrees. It only shoots you when you press the shoot button. There are the purple cannons. They are like the mustard, but their direction can be changed when you press a button. When you shoot from any of these cannons, you break ice blocks and kill enemies. Here the enemies are ice bats with the ice properties, but they're masked. It's actually a shame that these cannons are a stage gimmick instead of basic mechanic. I absolutely love it. I love cannon gameplay. I wish we had like 20 more stages of them and they interacted with other stage elements and things like that. Maybe in a sequel. We'll see. The boss have a spiked ceiling, some spikes on the floor. There are 2 diagonal angled green cannons at the corner, which means they will shoot whenever you press the button. The boss is an ice bat with a mask. It shoots icicles when hit. It also spawns mobs. When Cyan, hit it with a cannon. 4-3. Winter Aurora. It's outside, at night, light snow colored floor. In the background, lots of pine trees, there's a mountain range, and in the sky, the Aurora Borealis. What? The Aurora Borealis? At this game? In this world? Localized entirely within this level? Huh, nice, can see it. You have these shooting enemies that will shoot ice bullets that you can jump on. The boss is of the shooting variety. It will shoot you with the same ice bullets. You have a small platform to stand on, of which more than half of it is ice blocks. Each time the boss gets Cyan, you have to go to the left by jumping on bullets and press a button. When you press the button, it also destroys one of the ice blocks, leaving you with less floor to rely on. Very good, very good. 4-4. Busy night. Now up to the sky again, with the metal platforms are the environment, but it's at night with a dark blue sky, there are clouds in the background, some in the foreground. They are beautiful turquoise color. For the gimmicks, there are the platforms with 2 buttons on each. It moves the platforms in the direction the arrows are pointing to, maybe left, right or up, down, while the button is pressed. There are some buttons outside the platform that bring the platform to you. Shooting guys here have masks. Boss. It's in a big platform that moves left to right automatically. There are spikes near the center. This masked shooting boss will shoot homing shots at you. The stage is all set for a great fight. 4-5. Heavy weather. You are still in the night sky, but now it started to rain. A lot. The background is all composed of rain clouds. The rain is very, very strong, it will push you constantly. Even more so when jumping, meaning that jumping against the rain will have you move just a little bit horizontally. All your vertical movement is maintained, but jumping in the direction of the rain gives you a very good boost for your momentum. The rain starts pushing you to the left. In the first section you have a button to change the rain direction. It goes from the left to the right and back. You also have a block that slides accordingly to the rain direction. The second section, you start with this counter, 3 seconds. Every time it hits 0, the rain changes directions. And the timer restarts. So you have to do lots of platforming in the right timing. In the third section, you have the grades, you have the timed changing direction, but each time the timer hits 0, together with the changing direction, there's a lightning strike. It will electrify all of the grades for a couple of moments. You must not be holding onto it. You can jump from it and still be behind it, you will take no damage. Only if you are holding onto the grade that you will take damage. So jump. Time for the boss. You still have the rain changing direction every 3 seconds and the electrifying grade. This grade covers the whole stage. There's no floor, just spikes. The boss is a big bat. It spawns yellow mobs. 4-6. Catastrophe Catacomb. It is of note that, unlike in American culture, this game was made in Indonesia. So it's not filled to the brim with cat puns everywhere. Like perfect when you complete the stage, or impossible. Things like that. Most stages are just description of what's in it. Anyway, this is another grey castle with arches, small windows, hanging lamps in the background. There's no gimmick here basically, it just have a lot of masked bats, moving platforms. Be aware that the moving platforms can and will crush you. Now for the boss. It's a bat boss with a mask. Low ceiling, covered in spikes, floor have some breakable blocks hiding spikes. It's almost like 2-3. The boss will shoot fireballs in a cross when hit, it will reveal the spikes, etc. It spawns mobs too, this time. 4-7, Spiky Crypt. It is a crypt with more arches and columns in the background. There are these spikes that pop in and out of the floor, walls and ceilings. If a spike is on the wall, you can jump on top of them to move upwards. Spiked blocks are also around, they move about, ready to hit or crush you. The bunnies here are also masked, and when they die they shoot out 8-direction fireballs. The boss. Simple room. It's been a while that the arena is just a big room with nothing in it. You have the big masked bunny, it shoots out 8-direction fireballs when hit. Also spawn mobs that also shoots out 8-direction fireballs. Yeah, this boss doesn't need any gimmicks or stage hazards to fight you. It's just you, the boss, its minions, and lots of fireballs. 4-8, Sinusoidal Spirit. For those who don't know, sinusoidal refers to the wave movement. It goes up and down, up and down. It's especially common in sound waves, like this one. It is a castle with a purple mist permeating the place. You know, ghosts are about. The stage name also spells it out. The background shows the walls are broken and old. In this stage you have these dotted lines in shape of blocks. When a shot passes through it, blocks will materialize for 5 seconds. There are ghost shooters here. They will shot in that sinusoidal pattern. The boss. It's a ghost shooting boss. To your left, you have enemies constantly falling down. Your shots cannot hit the boss, their shots can. You need to make the dotted line, make a platform for the enemies to fall on it and shoot. But now you have to dodge both the bosses and those enemies' shots. You have 2 types of falling enemies. Normal shooting guys and ghost shooting guys. The normal shooting guys shoot the normal arrow type shoot. It damages the ghost. The ghost shooting guys serve to confound you at first, but when the boss goes cyan, only their shots will take out the cyan state of the boss. After each cyan state, the boss's shoot pattern changes, so stay alert for that. For S, the 4th shop. Here you have Rescue Halo, that makes you not die when you fall down a hole, and Coin Magnet, it attracts coins more easily. Get the Rescue Halo as soon as you can. 4P, Secret Pond 4. In this one, you become a blue cat with a green hat. Your shot becomes ice crystals. 4-9, Melting Breath. Once again, in the Ice Palace, there are big pattern ice blocks in the environment with ice pillars floating in the background. This stage's gimmick is a button that makes your next shot an ice cube. You shoot this ice cube, it will stand floating in the air, and you can stand on it for a couple seconds, then it cracks and breaks. The same ice cubes are present in the stage. After a while they disappear, then respawn. The boss of this stage is a world boss. It's a flying blue pig with a green mohawk. It makes icicles rain down in formations, usually 5, sometimes 4. Very simple boss. When cyan and in low health, an ice block button will appear. You know what to do. On to the next world, World 5. 5-1, Dancing Coin. Once again we come back to the Autumn Forest. The gimmick here is that the coins are moving about dancing, as the stage name says. We have flying shooting enemies. There's a green block that can be moved while pressing the button, like the telekinetic one, but it's not restricted to 2 directions. You actually have a big square that you see when you press the button, and you can move it all around it. There are other things that will have this turquoise aura that can be moved when the button is pressed to stay alert for it, especially if you are after the gems. Now the boss, it's a flying shooting. It is at the ceiling, but looking down at you. It flies up and down, meaning it flies actually left to right. It's to disorientate you a little bit. It has a variety of shot patterns. You know the drill. 5-2, Gravitating Library. Back to the caves, but there's a full library here. Full bookcases, both in the environment and the background. The more you go into the cave, the more sections you go on, there are more and more bookcases in the background. In this stage, The gimmick is an inverting gravity button. Both you and bookcases and objects that are not floating, or enemies for that matter, will flip gravity each time the button is pressed. There is a button also in the later sections that invert the gravity for a set amount of time. A timer will start, and when stopped you come back. In the last section, in the third section of this stage, you will invert gravity and enter the boss fight. Thus, in this fight, you will spend the whole battle with the inverted gravity. There are some pits, upless pits, in the ceiling. You will take a hit if you go there. The boss is a bat that spawns yellow mobs. Technically they wear spiked crowns, but since you are on the ceiling, it will matter much less because you jump on their underside. 5-3 Laser Workshop. It is a factory theme. The background is various types of floors. Here we have a new type of enemy, the laser-eyed. First we have these slimes. They shoot this red dot. I'll call them laser beats. They have this mask, and when you shoot at the mask, they don't take damage, and they shoot the laser beat at you. When you jump at them, they care, because if you jump too close to the mask, you will take damage. You have to jump on their backside. For another basic mechanic that's introduced here, it's been a while, it's lasers. You cannot pass through this laser. If you touch them, they hurt you. They are used here, especially as if they were spikes on the floor, walls, ceiling. Here you also have a gimmick that the laser is reflected when it hits a triangle block, most likely a mirror. You also have blocks that when hit by an arrow do what they would do if they were buttons. You have the A blocks, the colored blocks, but instead of being buttons, they work via laser. In the second section, you can see some laser going up, and you have a button to spy what's going on over there. You will see a lot of triangles. This is a big puzzle. You have to reflect the laser by jumping on the buttons that turn the triangles around. And you have to bounce the laser until it hits the point which it have to hit for you to be able to get your gem. In the third section, you have these two colored lasers, red and green, with red and green buttons. Step on one, the other disappear, vice versa. This is a gimmick, we don't see this green laser ever again. Now, for the boss. Low ceiling, lasers on the floor, acting as spikes. There's a laser-eyed masked slime here. It will spawn yellow mobs that go in the ceiling. When it gets in, you must shoot the little slimes on the mask so that they shoot their laser beats at the boss. A very tough fight. You have to pay a lot of attention here. 5-4 Oil Sewer. It is a sewer with lots of pipes in the environment, foreground, background. Another stage with the water gimmick. This time the water pulls you down, always. You have to keep pressing the jump button to swim up. This is like some which people consider bad swimming mechanics, but this time it is a difficult mechanic. Together with the enemies. There are these shooting enemies, the shooting guys, but they have the laser eye, and they will keep shooting homing shots at you the laser bits. There are also these glass blocks, are also a basic mechanic. These glass blocks will let laser bits or laser shots pass through them. So the enemies can hit you, you can't hit them. Also, if a laser hits the water will become a little bit red and it will hurt you. Watch out. The boss, the arena is very small, is in the water with a laser on the bottom, and the boss is shooting you with a variety of patterns. Very good fight, very good. 5-5. Exploding mine. It's a mine shaft with wooden beams around in the background with cave walls. The gimmick here is exploding boxes. Each of these boxes with exclamation marks have a button that starts a timer. When the time gets to 0, guess what? They launch confetti. No, they explode. They damage nearby blocks, boxes, and enemies and you too. There are here bats with headlights. They also explode. So if a box explodes near a bat, they will explode, making it a chain reaction. They also shoot out fireballs, either in a cross or an X. You also encounter here a button that will spawn explosive boxes. Onto the boss. You have 3 moving platforms above a pit. The big bat have a headlight and he explodes after each couple hits. So try to shoot it. It also shoots out 8 fireballs in all directions. It will spawn mobs. When it gets seen, you gotta kill all the mobs, who, as I said, explodes. Everything is exploding here. Take care. 5-6. Trail of Crackers. We're back to Candyland, where we also have savory treats. Very nice. The background is composed of lollipops, candy canes, pink clouds. The gimmick: you have this button that spawns a connected cracker block that will move in the direction you are looking at. They last for a bit. There's a number on them. You can see how many blocks are left before they stop. After they stop, they will start disappearing after a while in the order they spawned in. The shooting guys here shoot in an arc. Also, I usually don't do this, but I will talk about the second gem on this stage. Beware from where you enter from the first section of this stage to the second section. It makes a difference if you can reach the gem or not. This boss have that Mario World series of block platforms moving around in a rectangle formation above a pit. The boss is a shooting guy that has that arc but with more shots and is only hittable with shots as always. 5-7. Colorful Confection. More Candyland but with square drops in the environment and candy cane pillars in the background with the pink clouds. The main gimmick is these blocks that hang in the wall. They are marked with red X's. When you pass through each of these blocks, they change to green color with checks. If you pass through them again, they go back to the X. When a set of all these blocks become green, the platform opens. The shooting enemies here have this triangle block that ricochets their shot. The boss of this stage is the shooting guy. There are some pits in the arena. He shoots all about. When he gets in, a button and triangles will appear. You must arrange the triangles for the boss to shoot himself. 5-8. Gear Conveyor. Back with the industrial team. There are lots of turning gears both in the environment you are in and the background. The horizontal gears will move you in the direction they are turn into until you fall out of them. There are also these individual blocks with arrows in them that you can move them by shooting. In the second section you have an upwards moving floor. Here the enemies are bunnies and they have that laser eye and they shoot homing shots at you. Now the boss. The floor is all made up of gears except for the edges, which are pits. The big laser bunny keeps shooting laser beams at you. Spawn yellow mobs, but the bunnies that are the mobs fall out of the stage very quickly. You only have to worry about the boss itself. 5S, the fifth shop. It has the up dash that makes you able to dash upwards, and the green heart that reduces revival costs by half. This green heart is honestly kinda useless because you by now will have so many pulls that you won't even know what to do with them anymore. But the dash is very important. Get the up dash as soon as you can. 5P, Secret Pond 5. In this pond you turn into a green cat with a red hat. Your shot becomes this green arrow that makes a cross. 5-9, Panic Factory. It's the factory again from 5-1. Basically, the stage's gimmick is a button that turns you to a yellow shade. In this state, you can't stop running. You start running to a direction. When you hit a wall, you start running to the other side. So you just keep running and bumping around. You can jump. You break cracked steel blocks that can't be broken otherwise, even with your dash. You can run on top of lasers, very important. You pass through enemies, you won't kill them, but they won't hurt you. To end this effect, shoot. The bats here have a laser eye. They themselves don't shoot, but they release a laser in a cross pattern when killed. The laser takes a second to shoot and lasts a couple more seconds. In this stage you have some blocks that alternate colored platforms and timed platforms that are activated by the laser from these bats. Now for the world boss, it is a green fox with jetpacks. I don't know why the need for jetpacks, because the pig and the sheep just fly about, but the fox needs jetpacks. He likes technology, I don't know. The ceiling have laser, the edges of the arena have small pits. The fox aims at you, then shoots lasers. Not laser beats, but laser beams. They're faster. They reach you very quickly, you need to move about. He also summons some machine dots that also shoots lasers. I feel that the world bosses are honestly shadowed by the sheer amount of boss fights you have. 6-1, Haunted Ground. At night, with stones and purplish clouds, with a big moon in the background. Later in the level you also have these dead tree outlines. A mist permeates the foreground. In this level there's a button that astral projects you. While astral projecting, you fly. You can get items and press buttons. Your normal shot becomes an 8-direction shot, but in a small area of effect. It will kill the ghosts that are the variant of the stage. It's all ghost bats here. If you get hurt, you come back to your body immediately. You can be hit either in your astral body or your normal body. Some platforms are astral. They are transmutable in normal form and become solid when astral projecting, or vice versa. The boss is in this arena with a spiked ceiling, and some of the floor is spikes too. The boss himself is a ghost bat that spawns yellow mobs. You must astral project to damage the boss. 6-2 Possessed Tomb. You are in a catacomb with lots of tombs. In the background, crumbled walls with candelabra. The ambience is very grey and purplish, of course, because of the ghosts. In this stage, these graves, these tombs, I may call them whichever, will spawn ghost bats that fly directly to you. They ignore walls and almost all obstacles. But these are timed ghosts. After they spawn, 5 seconds passes, they disappear. There is one platform that kills the ghost and disappears together with it. It has a sun symbol. Here we have water. Of course, it's a gimmick, so it's different than any other water we've seen so far. People who played Sonic 2, close your ears. Here the water is purple, and as soon as you enter it, a countdown starts. Reach 0 and you die. You don't take damage, you just die. Yeah, it's basically the same as the Sonic 2's chemical plants on water, but deadlier. In this water also, you sink to the bottom. In this water, you will sink to the bottom as soon as you enter it, but each time you jump, your jump propels you upward, usually to the top of the water and out of it. So unless you are in a place filled with water, you won't have to worry too much about the timer. Hint, it's the second section. In the third section, you have these purple platforms with an arrow pointing to the right. Obviously, you have to interact with something to get this gem. Get to the end of the section, you see a button that makes these platforms become transmutable. So, you gotta step on the button, come back to get the gem. Only problem is, as you can see, if you get hit, the platform closes. So you have to be perfect. You have to have a perfect run from the end to the start of the third section. As if this video wasn't long enough, watch me get the gem. On to the boss. Half the arena is submerged in this deadly water with a pit in the middle. There are those sun platforms. The boss himself, Ghost Bat, he will do that, aiming for your location and chasing you, going to you. So you must lead him to one of the sun platforms, so you damage. He will also spawn mobs, and between the phases the sun platforms will change their locations. In the last one they replace some of the floor, be careful. Since it's a team here, watch me defeat this boss flawlessly. 6-3 Respawn Dungeon. Back to a normal non-spooky cave with differently shaped stones and some pipes and foreground. The background also has this very dark cave with stalagmites and stalactites. Here you start seeing no enemies, but they will suddenly spawn when you get close to them. If you kill them, they will become this semi-transparent outline, and very soon they will spawn again. Whenever they die, they shoot out these 8-direction big fireballs. And for some reason their masks don't seem to block out shots. Maybe they're bearded, who knows. Anyway, trust the coins. Usually they will indicate their spawn point. If you see a line of coins going seemingly to the pit, you can jump. Trust the coins. You have also these blocks. They're not cracked, but you see you can break them either with a dash or with the fireballs. You need to use them. Now, the third section of the stage is a very trippy gimmick. The stage itself shifts. Some parts of the stage appear and disappear, including walls, floors, depending on where you are. You jump to a platform, then you see everything around you changing, except the enemies. They don't change where they are. It's kinda hard to explain, but you can see where it is in the footage. Onto the boss. No floors, no walls, no ceiling, only 3 platforms. You land on one, the other 2 are transmutable. You won't see them, but you know when you get close to them, they will appear. Meaning you can shoot through them if you are not standing in one of them. The boss is a big bat. It has this, either it's a mask or a beard, I don't know. It takes shots. It couple hits. It shoots out those 8-direction fireballs. He also spawns a lot of yellow mobs that after a few seconds they will all at the same time explode into lots of fireballs all over the place. Dodge. Very good, very cool boss fight. Love it. 6-4 Blackout. Another cave with a completely black background and foreground and environment and everything because it's all in the dark. That's the gimmick. In this stage, only a small area around you is illuminated. Everything else is in the dark. Luckily, your shots will illuminate the way. The bats here, they have glasses, very cute. They will explode into fireballs. Not the normal fireballs, I'd say they're more light balls. They will ricochet in whichever angle they hit, and they will illuminate the way. In this stage, obviously, there are lots of spikes, pits, small paths with lots of enemies around. Be very careful here. Also, there might be hidden walls. You might have to go out of the screen. That's it if you wanna get the gem. If not, or if you already did, let's go to the boss. Same thing, all dark, low ceiling, the ceiling being all spikes. On the floor, spikes. The boss is a big bat with glasses that after each couple of hits shoots out the illuminating fireballs. Very tough fight. Keep shooting to see where the boss is. 6-5 Spooky Jungle. It is a forest at night. It has greenish grey trees with less saturation in the environment. The background, it has the same trees and a purple haze In the second section, you are inside of a big tree. Then on the third, you move on to a purple sky. That's presumably where purple rain comes from. Who knows? Anyway, the gimmick here are that 1. There's a button that spawns a movable block with a counter for it to disappear. Use this for puzzles. And enemies, all types of enemies can be found here. At first they're normal, but when they are killed, they become ghosts. If they are in some sort of elevated platform, they might fall down through it. So you have to kill the mobs and then later pass through, dodging their ghosts. There's also a platform that becomes transmiable when you kill all the enemies in a section. Now for the boss. The arena is an elevated wooden platform with spiked ceiling. The boss is a big bunny. Between the phases, it will turn into a ghost, fall through it, and it spawns ghost mobs that will kind of jump a little bit out of the wood. So be careful. 6-6. Back to the jungle, not the spooky one, normal jungle. Here, the water is almost like the first water we encounter in the game. You have a downwards momentum, and then the water pushes you up. But this time there's a crucial difference. You cannot shoot while you are underwater. Also, the namesake of the stage is this button that will spawn a box with the gem inside. This box is physics based. It will hold you back, pull down, as you can see in the water. If it's below you, it will pull you down, and you can swim a little bit under the surface. If you can get the box above you, you can get all the way to the bottom. Also very important, if you fall in a pit, the box won't come back and the button will keep pressed, so you cannot recover it. You have to restart the level. In the second section, you have this button. To drain the water, you gotta run. As you can imagine, to reach the gem you have to be fast. In the third section, the water level rises and lowers constantly. Now for the boss, low ceiling arena with lots of spiked places. The boss is underwater, so your shots won't reach him. You have to jump on him. But between the phases, he will spawn mobs, yellow mobs, that go to the ceiling. So you have to hit this slime boss while dodging the slimes on the ceiling and taking care to not be shot upwards to the spikes. Very difficult fight, very cool. Six, 7, magical space. There are planets in the background. The environment and platforms are like those of spaceships. From a point onwards, you also see lots of domed cities in the distance. I'd call it more technological space than magical space, but what do I know? Here we have low gravity. The jumps are bigger and longer. Your shot arc is also much bigger than before. The lasers, they roam free, they make turns. Watch out for that, plus the laser beats from the laser-eyed shooting guys. In the second section, there's a button for zero gravity, so you float. You move with your D-pad and your shots becomes 100% straightforward. In the third section, another instance of auto-scrolling, but this time you're floating. Nice. The boss is a fighting 0G, so you float around. He's in the center of the stage. It is not a shooting guy. He resembles them, but it's just a cylinder with no mouth. Maybe he must scream, who knows. It has a laser eye facing forward, also very strange. He can shoot laser beams all around the stage, so it's like a shoot 'em up. It spawns yellow mobs that will position themselves in the edges of the arena, so the fight thus turn into a bullet hell. A neat concept. 6-8 Moonshield. It's deep space with very distant planets in the background together with the stars. Very beautiful. What is this stage's gimmick? It's Metroidvania. This stage combines all 3 sections into one giant maze, filled with enemies, laser walls, platforms, a lot of basic mechanics like the color doors, breakable blocks, one-way platforms. All the 3 gems are here, locked away behind challenges. The main stage gimmick is the Moonshield. You have all these moons scattered around. As you get each one, you can see in the top right corner, together with the MP, your moon counter. Each moon you get will also circle you. This moon, you get one, it starts circling you. You get a second one, it stays together with the first. They all stick together. They form a shield, hence the name. They will block shots, all of them. The enemy shots and also your shots. So you have to balance. You also have these platforms, these green platforms with numbers on them. When you have a certain amount of moons written on the door, they open. If you have less or more moons, the door will be closed. This means that some parts of the stage becomes unavailable as soon as you collect one more moon than what is needed. To help you, the devs included in the moon counter a change from white color to green in the numbering. You'll see that, for example, back there when I collected 6 moons, I had my number go green. This indicates that there's a green door somewhere with the number 6. So as soon as you collect a certain amount of moons, you can go explore. Exploration really is the gimmick of this stage, and I absolutely adore it. I love all Metroidvanias. Soon enough, I'll take a good look. It's a good one I'm playing right now. Let's see how it turns out. Anyway, to the boss. You cap your moon shield at 24 moons, if I'm not mistaken. This covers half of your circumference. It will help a lot in this boss. It is a shooting guy. It's a laser-eyed one, but it shoots all over in a fan pattern. The mobs it spawns are unique, in which they shoot laser beams, but these laser beams are purple and they pass through your moon shield. You can block the boss's shots, but not the mobs. So you have to be very careful and balance your attack and defense on the spot. Very tense boss fight. This stage is really sublime in all aspects of play. I love it. 6S, the 6th shop. It has Elixir, making you start with 5 MP, and the Podash, the one that creates clones. Get both of them, they are very important. 6P. Here you turn into a purple cat with grey hat. You shoot purple skulls. My advice obviously to spend all your pulse on the floor upgrade to reach this pond as soon as possible. After all, you unlock the best color cat in the game. 6-9 Ghost Torrent. Back from space, you embark on ghost ships, with more ships in the background and purple sky and clouds. Here, the ghost bunnies were parabandanas, so adorable. As with all boss stages, you have a button that transforms your next shot into something. In this case, it's a teleporting star. You shoot this black and purple star, and when it hits either the end of the screen or a wall, you will teleport there. You get some invincibility time after teleporting, so don't worry about shooting near a bunny. You will need this teleport because the gimmick here is actually the gem. You try to catch it, it will move away from you. This happened a few times, a sound will notify you, and you notice a lack of a gem in the first slot in your gem UI. In the second section, you enter the ship. It has big windows showing the outside. The enemies here are ghost bats with an eye patch. This ship is so cute that I could die and become a ghost too. They fly from one end of the screen to the other, but don't come back. Instead, they form a line of ghosts going left to right or right to left. That invincibility afforded by the teleporting star here will be invaluable. In the third section, it starts raining outside for that ambience for the incoming boss fight. Here, the bats comes from the left, the right, and also up. The floor is littered with spikes. Be on your paws here. The boss is a word boss, as I said. It is a purple owl. It is a pirate. It shoots homing shots at you, and they disappear after a short distance and increase the number in each phase. The floor is very uneven with a couple of spiked places here and there. It will be very easy, but the boss teleports around. When he gets Cyan near the end, you will have a teleporting shot button to reach him. Very good fight, very good. 7-1 Rising Fever, final stretch of the game. You're in a castle, big walls, small windows in the background. Also you have these lava falls. I guess this is lava, it is semi-transparent, reminding me of those Hot War stages from Donkey Kong 2. But since you see fireballs jumping up from it, it is supposed to be lava. But since you can swim in it, they make it semi-transparent so they can show you. Yes, you can swim in this lava, but you take damage. Here though, this damage is a bit different. You don't take a full hit. Instead, your health drops as if it were a percentage. You can have 3 3/4 of HP. Here, as I said, fireballs jump up from the lava to get you. Also, you have these masked bats, they chase you and explode into 8-way fireballs when killed. In the second section, you have this tower with beautiful sprite work in the background. As soon as you start climbing up, the lava will start to rise. hence the name. You also have these fireball lines straight from Mario 1. They can circle around in clockwise or counterclockwise fashion. You also have them lining up walls, ceilings and floors to impede your way. It's kind of tense, but also very beautiful. I love this section. In the third section, you'll find yourself in the top of the tower with this gorgeous red sky and red clouds in the back and foreground. Here you have a lot of enemies and a lot of fireballs. It is to be noted here that the enemies wear that mask that looks like a beard, I don't know, that does not impede you to shoot them. It is just to signify that they chase you and explode into fireballs. Be careful with them still. The boss is a big bat with that mask. It will form a line to you and chase you, kinda slowly, but still is very menacing because the arena is very dangerous. Lots of pits. From each pit jumps up a fireball in quick intervals. After a couple of hits, it shoots out fireballs in 8 directions too. It spawns yellow mobs that after a couple of seconds explode into fireballs. This is a very difficult fight, very good. 7-2 Bubble Trouble. Another ice stage. You are coming from the very hot to the very cold. Take care not to get sick. Here the ice is a turquoise color in those horizontal stripe patterns with ice bricks lining the background. This stage's gimmick is bubbles. You have a bubble button. This bubble button generates a bubble for you to get inside. When you are inside of it, you slowly float up. To move, you gotta shoot in the opposite direction. You can shoot left, right or up. Unfortunately, you cannot shoot down to move up faster, but you can dash while inside the bubble. Just watch out, because as you can see here, I've got a glitch where you might get stuck on enemies or spikes. You might get stuck. Watch out for that. Also, there are spike balls covering the ceiling. The ice slimes and bats take normal amount of damage. These are not the ones that explode in one jump, but when they die, they explode into 3 ice spike balls. They travel in an arc, 2 of them outward arc, left and right, and one goes right up, straight up, then down. This is important for the boss. Also, if the bubble touches a spike, it will pop, but will not automatically damage you. You gotta yourself touch the spike or an enemy from the side, or fall in the pit to actually take damage. So you're a little bit safer if you take care. Now the boss. When you enter this fight, you automatically enter a bubble. There's no floor here, only a pit. The ceiling is covered in spikes, and the slime boss is moving around in the ceiling. Every couple of shots, he shoots out those ice spikes. You will probably be directly below him to shoot up, so you gotta move. And for that you gotta shoot to the side fast. This boss fight is also a rarity in which he spawns a different kind of mob than himself. He spawns yellow bats. Few of them will stay in the arena at the same time. If you're a bubble pop, you will fall. You will take damage and reappear in another bubble with invincibility time. I have not tested this fight without the rescue halo on. I can't guarantee that it won't immediately kill you. Take care.
7-3 Fragile Cube. Another ice palace with ice blocks making up the environment, with ice walls and pillars in the background. Here we have the shooting ice variant. They shoot ice boomerangs. Also, they shoot out some spikes when they die. The main gimmick is a button that when you hit it, you gain an ice block above your head, about 4 cats in distance. It will follow you everywhere. If you jump, it jumps too. Basically, it's that same system as the bird from Donkey Kong Country 3. If you hit this ice block in a wall, floor, ceiling, or enemy, it will break. It can though press buttons and get items for you. You also have in this stage ice cannons that shoot out some ice balls with 4 spikes on them. They are either in a cross or X, and they can be shot. When they shoot out the spikes. You need to do that to interact with the puzzles. Another boss with a twisted perspective. It's a flying shooting guy on a glass ceiling facing down, meaning when it flies up and down, it's actually going left to right. He shoots ice balls at you, the ones with the spikes. When the boss gets in, that ice block button appears and you must press it and then guide the ice block to the other side of the arena to press a button, which takes out the boss's CN state. Rinse and repeat. Boss done. On to the best stage of the game. 7-4 Mini Mini Mo. Here everything is dark. Not like in that dark cave, but everything is silhouetted instead. The enemies, only the black bodies with the red glowing eye. Even you are basically a shadow cat with glowing red eyes. You have 2 eyes, the slimes have 1 eye because they're laser eye. I really wish we could have this one unlockable for play. It's very nice. You also can't make out what's the ground, what's the environment, what's in the background, because it's all silhouetted. You only have this greenish mist that envelops the whole background. Finally, we have a stealth level. We have these masked slimes with a cone of vision. A very obvious cone of vision. If you get spotted by it, you get shot with a laser. Not a laser beam, like most masked laser-eyed guys, but with a laser beam, just like the boss, the fox one. Meaning it's much faster and harder to dodge. Since it's a stealth level, you can still kill the slimes if you catch them off guard. There's no pacifist takedowns here. Kill or be killed, or you can avoid them. All colored doors are also silhouetted, so if you see a button, pay attention. There might be something hiding somewhere with one of these doors that you can't make out of. It's in the first section. On the second one, you also have movable blocks that you won't know are pushable until you headbutt them. Now, the third section, you have this button that corresponds to some blocks with the forbidden sign. When you press it, all these blocks become transmutable. But if you get spotted at any time by any of the slimes, they will become solid again. Also, all the slimes will respawn. If you have killed any of them, that's to get the gem. You have to not get spotted by anything in all your way. Those blocks, they serve more of an easy way to get back to the beginning of the third section so that you can repeat it. Or you can just go back to the checkpoint if you prefer, because the enemies respawn. This is very challenging. It took me a lot of tries. 10 out of 10 would suffer through it again.
Now, talking to you devs, if you are seeing this, I hope you are, give me 20 more levels like this in the sequel. No, even better. Make an alternate mode, a shadow mode if you will. All stages, but with this, either this aesthetic or something similar, but stealth gameplay. Maybe time trial, shadow trial. If this video helps you sell more copies, and I really wish it does, to you all, go buy the game. I'll hold you guys to this one-sided promise. It's a promise, huh, devs? Now, back to the boss. This is fantastic boss. It's an oblong arena. The boss, once again, is that cylinder with a laser eye. It has a vision cone. It rotates clockwise. If the vision cone catches you, it fires a laser beam. Besides that, it will fire laser beams at you, each phase with increasingly harder patterns to avoid. When it gets between the phases, in its yellow state, the vision cone starts rotating counterclockwise, and it fires laser beams in 6 directions. First, in the yellow phase, it's all in the same direction, then it changes, then it adds more. It gets increasingly complicated. It's certainly one of the best, if not the best boss fight in the whole game. This is my favorite stage, together with the Metroidvania one. I love it very much. 7.5 Warned Prey. It's a factory environment again, but with live wires coursing throughout the foreground and the otherwise black background. It seems like the devs really liked some ideas from Donkey Kong 3. As you start moving, you trip a wire and a defense system will activate. It has a target on you at all times. And every 5 seconds, the first one is 3 seconds, but from then on it's 5, a laser beam will be shot from the foreground to you. It is unavoidable. You can't dodge it normally. You can dash out of it, or if you have the dash invincibility, but otherwise it will hit you and hurt you. Since it's from the foreground, you could even say it's in first person. Your POV shot is shooting at your controlling cat. Is this the fabled second-person gameplay? Anyway, this laser beam is very fast. Your chance to survive is if you find some place to hide. Some metal blocks with small glass windows let you pass behind them, hiding you for each shot. They will be on the ground, in the air, in the grades. It won't defend you against laser beams from enemies because they're in the same plane as you, you know? They're in the environment, not the foreground nor the background. In the second section, there is a button to open a platform, but it closes if you get hurt by the laser. Any other way, or getting hit by the laser beam while you are invulnerable, it's fine. It doesn't close the platform. Press the button again, and all the enemies that were killed in this section will respawn. Watch out for that. In the third section, There is a button that, while pressed, lets you control the laser target. The timer is still fixed, you only control the reticle. Now, for the boss. Start time is a charm, cylinder again. The arena is kinda small, has a couple of laser pits and a lot of the metal blocks. The boss shoots laser beams at you, but the target is still on you. It doesn't give up. When the boss gets in, the button to control the laser target appears. Shoot the boss. Now it starts moving, and once again, each CN phase it gets, go to the button, shoot the boss with the laser. Very nice. Love the concept. 7-6 Dead Eye. I said at the beginning, long ago, that there were no spooky, actual spooky, not like the spooky forest, places in the game. This is the exception. The environment and background is composed of these disgusting, flashy tendril things, eyes everywhere, and small, smiling faces that even wink at you. Also, they are moving, wriggling, all the time. Also, the whole thing is in grayscales. Even you. Now, here's another cat for the next game. I want this palette swatch too. Very nice, very cool, I love it. It's not that everything is actually colorless, it's the stage's gimmick, of course. There are these one-eyed ghost bats in the stage. They have an aura of color around them that makes the background purple and the environment red. I think it's much worse. I'd prefer it to stay colorless, I think. Anyway, back to the bats. When you are looking in their direction, they stand still with their eye closed. Look away, they open their eye and start moving. They move usually in their set pattern like any other bat in the game. While the floor is colorless, you can walk on it, no problem. If you step on colored ground, you will get hurt. So you gotta plan your movements very carefully. In the second section there's a very big eye, it's closed initially, there's a button to open it. While the eye is open, it has a big color aura, but the bats inside, they are inverted. Their aura becomes colorless, so you have to open the big eye, get the bats in position to be able to pass through. Touching the colored floor here closes the eye. Getting hit otherwise is fine. There's a certain platform that only opens while the big eye is open. Guess what's on the other side of that platform? It's a gem. In the third section, there's a couple of bats that follow you. One only follows you inside the radius of the big eye's aura. The other one, he's kinda hidden, look for it. He will follow you all throughout the stage. Now, the boss. Very difficult one. You are in a small rectangle arena. The boss is a ghost bat with one eye. It has two different properties. If it has the eye closed, it does not have the aura, but it's immune to damage. If it has its eye open, it has the color aura, but can be damaged. Meaning, you must shoot at it and look away immediately. Also, it spawns yellow mobs with the aura. Of course, why not? Remember that you will get hurt if you step on a colored floor. Good luck on this fight. It's very challenging. 7-7 Dark Tower. Gray blocks and lots of grades in the sky, with the aforementioned gray towers in the background and gray clouds in the foreground. In this stage, in the first section, there are light beams that expands and contracts. They are kind of like the lasers, they block your path, hurt you, can even crush you. They are thicker. It's It's solid, basically. It can have a block over it if you push over to it. Aside from this gimmick, watch out for the spikes and masked bats that shoot out fireballs on their deaths. You know the drill by now. The second section have the new type of grade, moving grades. Love the concept. I wish it was introduced earlier and became a basic mechanic instead of being relegated to a gimmick here. But this is one of the best stages in the game in the aspect of testing your skill. You will course through a vertical room full of spikes, spiked paths, enemies. Really a great test of precision and quick-wittedness. I love it. For the boss, you have a bottomless pit, some spikes here or there at the bottom. At the top, full spike coverage. There are horizontal grades that are moving from top to bottom and out of the screen. The boss is a masked bat that shoots out fireballs each couple of hits and also spawns yellow mobs. Once again, a very good boss fight. The World 7 is mainly composed of exceptional boss fights. They are even better than the world bosses, I feel. 7-8 Burning Path. This is the last normal stage. It is castle themed with royal drapery, with castle walls in the background and some pillars later for flavor. There's a lot of bottomless pits around here, and the gimmick is these big stationary fireballs that disappear for a few seconds if hit. You can still see their outlines. There's the new variation of the mobs, fire. It's fire slimes, bats, shooting guys. Everyone is here. If you jump on them, they will hurt you, obviously. So shoot at them. When they are killed, they spill out, I'd say, because the projectile goes down. They spill out two fireballs that travel on the ground, one to the right, one to the left. You know the stuff. Fire bunnies are also here, they are very fast. The fire shooting guys also shoot this type of fireball. The boss arena is just a big place with two pits at the edges and a block with spikes at the ceiling. It's moving right to left, just like 2-1 or 2-2 or something. The boss is a big fire bunny. Each couple of hits, it spills those fireballs. When seen, it aims at you and goes to your direction. Same thing as always, you have to make it go to the spikes. Later, it starts spawning some mobs. This is the culmination of this type of fight. Very nice. 7S, the 7th shop. It contains Invidash, makes you invincible while dashing, and Shining Shield prolongs all types of invincibility. Both are very good. Get them if you can, as soon as you can. 7P, Secret Pond 7. Last pond, you get a red cat with a grayish white hat, and you shoot some kind of red firework or something. 7-9, Throne Chamber. It's the last boss place. To talk about it, let's call the ending section card to take a good look on ending, completion and achievements. Wow, how long has it been? It's been a good while since we last seen the transition cards. You start in a royal room with tapestry and decorated walls in the background. This first section is just a corridor with 12 potions, giving you Lots of ammo for your dashes and heals for this final fight. The battle arena is a full room with pillars, and look, your stolen gem is right there in the background, finally. It is within your reach. The last boss is the red monkey with a grayish white cape and hat. If you haven't figured out all the animals that you fight the world bosses, technically could be any color, but they are near the pounds that they command, so they are that color. This boss is not actually that hard for a final boss. He summons lots of movable blocks. They are though timed and will explode into 8-way fireballs. They are summoned well above you. When he goes yellow, he will summon a line of blocks. Each subsequent yellow phase, he will summon more and more lines. Then he gets cyan, jump on him 3 times, he gets to the next phase. Also, after each phase, the blocks get spikes. First only at the bottom, then bottom and the sides, then up and down, but not on the sides. At least you can push the blocks out of the way. Easy fight. Take him out, you are done. A bit underwhelming for a final boss, just like all other world bosses frankly, but as I said before, the other end of stage bosses more than compensate for that. I love most of the normal bosses. Also, it is done. You finally got your gem back. Final cutscene, oh yeah. Also, look, your cat retains the color you choose for this cutscene. Very cute. Finally, you have your gem back. What's that? What's that? Why do you look evil? Also, the end with a question mark? Is this not the end? Turns out this game also drinks from the Metroidvania well by having a bad ending and a good ending. I love this stuff. To get the good ending, here's the spoiler of the spoiler. You must get all those crystal pieces. You know, the ones found in each pond? Yeah, get those. You will need some of the upgrades. You need the upper dash, double dash, the dash that breaks blocks. I think that's mostly it, maybe a couple more. Get the 7 gems. If you don't know which gems you are missing, just look here in your progress screen. Remember, the secret tool that will help us later, this is later. You can see the crystal between the time trial times and your color, those paintbrushes. When you get all 7 of them, one in each pond, you will get the rainbow crystal. It is the one item that you cannot buy. It says here it reveals the truth. So let's go back to the monkey and check out what's really going on. So, last boss again. Start the fight as normal. Beat him each phase. When you get to his last phase, you notice there's a line coming from the gem to the monkey. Is the gem influencing the monkey? Ooh. You still have the option to just kill the monkey and get the bad ending again if you want. Or you can ignore the monkey and shoot the gem. After a while, from inside the gem, the actual final boss will come out. It's this skeletal cow head with big horns. This is what a final boss looks like in a cute game. The background turns red. The boss will be covered in flames most of the times. can't be jumped on, obviously. Also the dash is another thing that hurts him. It will shoot out fireballs. Big fireballs that explode into smaller fireballs. They ricochet all around the arena. It shoots out more and more fireballs. Get on dodging. Also, from face to face it will have more circling fireballs around him. Everything's on fire basically. Go at it. Shoot him. Dodge. While he's cyan, the flames will be extinguished. While cyan, the flames around him will be extinguished. And you must jump on its head. Keep up the pressure with the million fireballs around, ricocheting around you. You know, heal, dash away, all that good stuff. You eventually complete the game. This time, for real. Enjoy the final cutscene with all your animal friends and the credits. After completing the game, either way actually, you unlock New Game Plus. New Game Plus has two changes. One, it makes the dialogue in all cutscenes and dialogue boxes your language. Very important. Also, you start with all items. You won't have to worry so much about the gems anymore if you just wanna complete the game again. You can just make a beeline through all the bosses to hear the story. Now let's talk about completion and achievements. Here we have all the achievements for MagiCat. I do have them all. They're fairly easy and simple to get. You can get everything in a single save file. The list is the following. Obtain all the gems from each world. There are in total 27 gems. It does not matter if you get them with the green or the yellow checkmark, so don't worry too much. There is one achievement for completing the game with the bad ending. One achievement for each world for completing the time attack. It is not necessary for other things, it's just for the achievement and personal satisfaction. There's one for completing the game, beating the true boss, the cowhead, and finally you have achievements for changing the cat's color in each of the ponds. That's it. Nothing too complex, nothing grindy. It's just you playing the game, having fun. The game's great. In conclusion, it takes a tremendous amount of talent to craft a game this good. Don't let it on your wish list only, don't let it on your backlog only. Get this game, play it, complete it. You will love it. It should be an actual crime that this game is not talked about in the same breath as Mario, as Donkey Kong and the other great platformers. It is going to be a crime. If you don't have this game, you're guilty. Here's Officer Sakura to take you. Ha, she's with a gun. You're under arrest. Your sentence, get and play this game right now. Anyway, Thank you so very much, everyone, for sticking with me in this very long video. Took me a good while to make it. I've been Felipe Pereira Sibioni, FPS. This is the FPS Factor. Thank you so very much. Until the next game, I will take a very good look at. Thank you very much.